Hey, Roger. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you, but I don't know if no.
I can't see you.
This thing's acting up. Hold on, let me see.
There you are.
Good.
How are you, man?
Good, man. Good. Just right here. Here's the champ. Right here.
What's up, champ?
Olá, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, bien. ¿Cómo está? You too?
Tudo bem, tudo tranquilo.
Well, thanks, guys, for doing this interview. This is my first Zoom interview for FightNews.com.
Okay.
Roger's probably aware of FightNews.com. It's the original boxing website on the internet. The newspaper for boxing on the internet is what we like to say. And ever since COVID started, I've done a lot of interviews over the phone, but I thought I would catch up with the youngins and start doing some Zoom interviews and do some video. So thank you.
No problem, man. No problem.
And Patrick, no habla español, ¿sí?
He speaks Spanish.
I mean, Inglés.
Yes, no, just Spanish, yeah.
Okay. Mi esposa de Nicaragua.
Sí, sí.
Let's get going. Once again, Jeff Zimmerman, FightNews.com. I'm here with the super welterweight champ of the world, WBO champ Patrick Teixeira, and his trainer Roger Romo. How you guys doing?
Good, brother. Good. Thank you.
So let's start off with how's camp going so far?
Camp is going great. He's been working hard. His weight's good. His energy's good. He's ready to go, ready to fight.
And I feel like you guys are the most underappreciated or not known to the general public in all of boxing. You know, you hear about all these guys from the Charlo brothers to the Crawford and Spence and everybody in and around, 147, 154, 160. You don't hear a lot about Patrick Teixeira and Roger Romo. Why is that?
Boxing and boxing only. So I think that's why. I mean, me, I personally, I don't care. I really don't. I mean, I do care is that it's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent right here. And this fight, you guys are going to see it. You guys are going to see exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, and just to give you a little pub, Roger, you obviously come from a pretty good bloodline, the brother of Fernando Vargas. So it's, I don't know if many people know that, but, obviously, with everything he did in the sport and now his sons are doing, that's got to make you proud.
Absolutely. I was speaking to my nephew earlier. Amado, he fights tomorrow. He's it's another one. It's crazy just being around this since I was 6 years old, and then for it to change, and now seeing my nephews and how good they're doing it, you can't help but be proud.
Let me ask if you can translate for Patrick. Can you just give us a little bit of history? I know he's from Brazil. There's some legends that came out of there, Ancelino Freitas being one that I grew up watching. How did he get into boxing? Did he look up to those guys, a guy like Freitas as a kid? What's a little bit of his boxing background?
¿Qué quieres saber un poco de dónde eres tú? De Brasil, pues sí, ¿verdad? Pero de ti, ¿qué te hizo querer boxear? Que conoces a todos esos muchachos. ¿Cuáles de ellos te gustan más? ¿O te inspiró para boxear unos de ellos? ¿O cómo?
Eu empecei em meu estado de Santa Catarina, né, por causa das películas de Bruce Lee, que fui buscar um ginásio e encontrei um ginásio de boxeo. E meu primeiro grande boxeador que gostava muito foi Evander Holyfield, que quando das peleas com Mike Tyson, esse foi meu primeiro grande peleador que eu admirava e gostava.
Okay, so his background, it's Brazil, Santa Catarina, that's where he's from. He got into boxing. It wasn't because of those guys. It was because of he went to go watch a film, and it was Bruce Lee, and he admired and really loved his energy. So that's what got him into boxing. Actually, the guys from Brazil weren't even his. I mean, he of course he showed the respect for them and everything, but his favorite fighter was Evander Holyfield. That's what turned him on and out to boxing.
Well, if you're gonna be motivated by somebody, the real deal is a good one to follow. So, how did you two get together?
Que pueda seguir. We got together through my partner Cecilio Flores. He used to do strength and conditioning with Lomachenko, and to me, he hasn't looked the same the last 4 fights since my boy hasn't been in his corner. So that speaks about my partner. But he used to work with me when I boxed, and he was working with Loma and all the guys that Klimas was managing, all the Russian guys and Kazakh guys and all those guys. And he needed help, and that's what I was going to school for. Personally, I mean, I wanted to be able to do strength and conditioning because, boxers need it now, and I figured I can do 2 in 1 shot. So I could be the boxing trainer, I could do strength and conditioning as well. So Cecilio needed help, and he's like, I know you don't want to do too much strength, but that's your way into boxing. So he brought me back in, basically.
Well, and let me say this, Patrick, a question for Patrick. I know you're a knockout artist. I believe you got about 21 knockouts in your career, a lot of them early in the fights. How much has Roger helped you with your knockouts and striking? Roger, I know, works a lot with UFC, one of the best UFC fighters out there, in TJ Dillashaw, and he's always hitting the pads with him on Instagram. How much has Roger meant to your boxing and striking?
Que dice que ha visto peleas tuyas y tienes muchos knockouts. ¿Cómo piensas que yo te he ayudado a ti? Porque no nomás con tu, pues porque hago también trabajo con UFC, pero con tu ser agresivo, ¿cómo te ha ayudado yo con boxeo a ti?
Trabalhando com Roger, creio que me ajudou muito mais, né, em melhorar minhas habilidades técnicas, ficar um boxeador um pouco mais inteligente, me cuidando mais da defesa e mais da técnica e não buscando só a força, só o knockout.
So he said he respects the knockouts he had early, but now he says what he feels I've helped him with is to be more technical fighter. To be more intelligent, to not get his hit as much. This camp was basically just us working. So his other trainer stepped aside and me and him have been working, and that's what we've been working on, his boxing. So that's why he's saying about his boxing, about being more intelligent, being slick. Not every punch has to be thrown hard, things like that. So that's what he's been working on with me.
Does Patrick feel like he's an avoided fighter, even though he's a world champion?
¿Sientes que gente no quiere pelear contigo, aunque seas campeón mundial, que no quieren, como que no quieren la pelea contigo?
Yo creo que no, yo creo que estamos indo bem e estamos trabalhando bem e as peleas vão venir.
He says he feels that he doesn't feel like he's very much avoided. He feels like things are just a little slow right now, and he feels that after this fight that things are moving fine, and after this fight then he feels that they will want to fight, and they'll see that it's a fight worth fighting. So he doesn't feel avoided in the word. He just feels like things are just moving a little slow because of how everything's going. But
and I don't know if he has heard this, but I've heard rumors in the past where like a Crawford may decide to go to 154 and grab a title, and the name they'll mention is Patrick, as if like that's an easy path. How does Patrick feel when if he hears stuff like that?
Como Crawford, que dijo que quería subir a 54 y y dicen tu nombre como si fuera algo fácil. ¿Qué piensas de eso? ¿Cómo sientes de eso?
Ah, me gusta muito que acham que é uma peleia fácil, porque isso me motiva a treinar mais e poder surpreender eles, simplesmente isso.
He said he likes that. He likes that he thinks that they think that, or they can think that because it motivates him to train harder. And when he trains harder, it's just to show them that they're wrong. You know, like he loves for them to think that. But I mean, he'd welcome that fight, you know, with open arms. You know, come on in, let's go.
And let me ask you, I see you're wearing a Golden Boy shirt. Obviously, Oscar De La Hoya is your promoter, one of the best fighters, Hall of Famer of all time. And, you know, they've been doing shows recently, obviously, you know, lost Canelo, but they were out here with Ryan Garcia. I'm in Dallas, by the way, and they did a show out here recently. What is in store for you this year? I know there's a lot of talent under the Golden Boy banner, you know, outside of Canelo, you know, with Canelo leaving, kind of open things up for some fighters like Virgil Ortiz, you know, the Ryan Garcias, the guys out in San Antonio. What do they have planned for you this year, 2021, and going into the next year?
Es que saben que Golden Boy tiene la camiseta de ellos, que es tu promotor. Como ya no tienen a Canelo, ¿qué sabes de ellos? Pues ¿qué saben de tus planes? ¿Qué saben que van a hacer con este año y con el año que viene después de esta pelea? ¿No te han platicado o sí?
Não hablemos nada e creio que esse momento é peleia, vamos pensando passo a passo, pouquinho a pouquinho, vamos planeando por peleia, porque é importante ganhar essa peleia para seguir crescendo e mostrando o trabalho.
He said that they haven't spoken of any plans, anything in the future. They're just speaking about this fight, you know, taking it one fight at a time until, you know, that he's someone that they're gonna be talking about. They don't really talk too much about plans. Personally, he's me and Charlo's trainer were on a podcast together, and we talked about, you know, the importance of them two fighting, and he sounded like he was with it, and we're definitely with it. So without Golden Boy, we get this fight. If I mean, we already said that our fighters are with it, so it shouldn't be hard for Oscar to make a phone call or PBC or whatever it is to make a phone call to Oscar, and we can work together.
And when you say his trainer, I presume you're talking about Derek James.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great. I know Derek very well here in Dallas. So
Derek's a great man, awesome to talk to, and it's nothing personal. He's an amazing trainer. I thought he was trainer of the year last year, but you know, it's boxing, and you know, the guys you respect, that's who you can end up against. And so, you know, it's nothing personal. I respect him, and he's a great man, great coach. You know, he agrees that, you know, they both need the fight. You know, Charlo needs it, Patrick needs it. So, and I do too. We both agree on that.
Well, and I would say boxing needs it, right? We need to see some of these, you know, unification bouts or undisputed bouts take place. And if I'm not mistaken, I know Jermel's I think the franchise champ, but it's kind of that Teofimo Lopez thing, which I think many people would call that the undisputed fight, correct?
Absolutely, that's definitely the undisputed fight. What's funny is that Charlo never says Patrick's name. Ever. Patrick has said his name. Patrick has called him out on social media. I mean, he never says his name. So, you know, that says a lot to me. You know, I mean, you remember how it was when my brother was fighting. He called everybody out. So if you're that type of beast, be that type of beast. Let's see. You know, there's one champion left, and this champion's willing to fight, and he'll take the less money. And it's not even about that. To Patrick, it's about glory, about being that champion. That's what he wants.
Let me ask Patrick, how badly do you want to become the undisputed champ and fight Charlo? You know, assuming this fight goes well, you know, fight Charlo next for undisputed.
¿Cuánto quieres de esa pelea con Charlo? Primero hablando, pues, y ganando esta pelea, ¿cómo quieres esa pelea tú, como peleador? ¿Cómo ves de pelear con él para agarrar todos los cintos? ¿Cómo sientes para esa pelea?
Claro que eu penso na peleia com Castanho, mas ganhando seria uma peleia muito importante, pelear por todos os cintos. Creio que seria uma tremenda peleia, uma grande peleia. Sei que já o Charlo é um grande peleador, muito famoso, muito conhecido, muito bom peleador, e seria, eu me quedaria muito feliz peleando com ele pelo todos os cintos e grande.
He says that hopefully, God willing, he gets past this fight with Castaño, and that a fight with Charlo is on. Of course, it's on his mind. It's huge. He'd love it. It would be a gift to boxing. One champion. He feels that it would be a great fight. He says Jamal's a great fighter and has a great reputation. He's known, and he just would love to fight him. He feels like it would be a great fight for people.
And obviously, Patrick, as we mentioned at the beginning, I would call you a knockout artist. But what would you tell to the fans out there that maybe haven't seen you fight? And what is your style? Are you just a puncher, boxer, puncher? What's your style, and what kind of problems would you give a Jermell Charlo or any of the top guys at 154?
Dices, para el público que no te conoce o no saben de boxeo, que como tienes muchos knockouts, ¿cómo explicarás tu estilo para el peleador? Y ese estilo, ¿qué pensarás de hacer con Charlo en una pelea?
Eu creio que o meu estilo é um estilo único e eu posso boxear, também colocar boas mãos com poder. E para Jermell Charlo, creio que usando os jogos de pernas, batendo e usando bem as pernas, ele se complica um pouco. Então, creio que não é possível não é invencível.
So basically, he feels like his style is pretty unique. It's not like one style. He can box. He can be aggressive. He's he comes at different angles. A little not awkward is the word.
Unorthodox.
Yeah, a little unorthodox. So he feels that a fight with Charlo would be a good fight. He thinks that he can expose him by using his legs. He can use his legs. If he uses his legs, he goes, nothing's impossible. He's not invincible. He just feels like he could complicate his life if he steps in the ring with him.
And I saw recently you guys were at the Wild Card gym, Freddie Roach's gym in Hollywood. What were you guys doing there? Were you guys getting in some sparring, or what was that about?
Yeah, we went down there. We talked to Freddie, his people, and they told us they had some sparring for us. And we sparring right now is scarce, and out here in California, people are going everywhere to spar. So we did a lot of sparring there and other gyms in LA County. So that's what that was. We went and got some sparring, and Coach Freddie was very welcoming, and he gave a lot. He's been giving us a lot of advice. He really likes Patrick. He likes how Patrick fights. He said that this fight, a lot of people are saying it's tough, but he said the way that he's looking, I don't see where they see that from.
Let's talk about the fight. You're fighting Brian, and again, I don't speak Spanish, un poquito, even though, as I mentioned, my wife, been with her 20 plus years from Nicaragua. I'm still trying to learn. But with that being said, Brian Castaño, what kind of undefeated? I think you might have one draw against Lara. What kind of challenge does he pose for you? Seems like a tough fighter coming out of Argentina.
Que con Brian Castaño, que viene invicto, nomás el empate con Lara, que está medio, que está fuerte, que tiene esfuerzo para pelear. ¿Qué piensas tú de qué te ofrece de difícil? ¿Qué te parece difícil de él o qué te parece fácil? ¿Cómo lo ves tú?
Me parece a parte difícil é que atira muitos golpes e põe muita pressão no princípio da peleia, algo difícil. Eu creio que é fácil porque tem é pequeno e tem uma pequena envergadura e puedo trabalhar na distância e também outras coisas e usar minhas habilidades e tudo.
So basically, he feels that Brian, he's tough. You know, the parts that he feels that are difficult is just that he's tough. He's, you know, throws a lot of punches and he pressures fighters. He goes, what's easy, you know, he's small. My abilities are going to make things a lot easier. You know, he's not very potent because he's a small guy unless you're there on the inside with him. So basically, he sees a lot of simplicity in him as well.
Are we expecting a knockout for this fight?
¿Estás esperando un knockout o cómo ves la pelea?
Yeah, eu penso que knockout é uma consequência, né? Estou listo para os 12 rounds e bem preparado para tudo.
He says he feels that if you call or if you say you're looking for a knockout or you're going to knock him out, that leaves you very vulnerable. So you can get caught doing that. So basically, he says he's ready for 12 hard rounds. You know, if it's 12, it's 12, and he's ready for them. If not, you know, whatever comes first. If he goes shorter, then we go shorter. We're ready for anything.
And we'll wrap it here. We'll wrap it up here in a second. Let me ask you, Patrick, what are your short and long-term goals in boxing? 30 years old, you are world champion. Obviously, you want to become undisputed and fight Jermell Charlo. I would say maybe that's a short-term goal. What's your overall goal in the sport?
Dice que tienes 30 años, medio joven, eres campeón mundial. ¿Qué son tus metas metas pequeñas y metas grandes del boxeo? Claro, ya eres campeón mundial y dice que una meta que está muy cerca es de hacerte campeón de todos los cintos. ¿Qué otras metas tienes en el boxeo?
Eu creio se eu não penso muito adelante, pero uma pequena meta, se pudesse pelear com Jermell Charlo seria perfeito e talvez fazendo ganhando uma peleia assim poderia subir aos pesos medianos e tentar ser campeão de peso de cima.
He really says, I really don't like to think too far ahead. It's basically just how he feels. He doesn't like to think far ahead. What he likes to think about is, you know, like you said short-term goal of getting the fight with Jermell Charlo, securing it, you know, fighting it, and then winning it, and then maybe, you know, defend and try to move up another weight class. You know, that's probably the short-term. Long-term, he says basically he doesn't think too far ahead, you know.
All right, well, guys, I appreciate it. Once again, Patrick Teixeira, WBO super welterweight champion of the world, fights Brian Castano February 13th, and also Roger Romo, the esteemed trainer of Patrick. Guys, I really appreciate it. Best of luck, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You have a good one.
All right, guys. Good luck.
Yeah. Bye-bye.